I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I believe we're starting this evening off with one of the best things in the world, which is student recognitions.
Happy return to student recognition for sure. It's been, I think, 2 years since we've been able to properly recognize students. And now, thanks to some changes, some conscientiousness from everybody in our schools and this great new space, we're going to be able to do a lot moving forward. A lot of folks to recognize this evening. A lot of families made time to come out and celebrate the achievements of our students. You may have seen in the news recently that we have had some real success with musical programs in our school system. We have had 2 choruses recognized by the state from Jefferson and Washington High School. And we are very privileged this evening to have Mr. Ken Cooper, who is the director here at Washington High School, and some of his students here, not only to share that exciting news, but also to perform for us this evening. So I'll ask Mr. Cooper to come forward with his students.
Well, thank you, Hans, and thank you to the board for inviting us tonight and giving us the chance to honor these students who have been successful in making the West Virginia Music Educators All-State Course. So I'd introduce them for you now. Please raise your hand when I say your name so the audience will know. Bryn Bartlett, Sarah Ward, Elizabeth Owens, Maya Edwards, Andrew Smith, Nate Spencer, Donnie Hawkins, and Jaden Larson. So there's only 8 because that's the maximum we were allowed to have. So all of them made it. And they worked very hard, lots of after school hours and working at home. And I've asked 3 of them to very briefly just speak a little bit about what this experience making All-State has meant to them. So we'll start with Donnie. And you need to come down here, Donnie, and speak into this mic.
Good evening, Jefferson County students, parents, faculty members, and board members. My name is Donnie Hawkins, and I am a junior at Washington High School, and I am singing the bass 1 part at the West Virginia Music Educators Association All-State Conference. All-State means so much to me because I went as a freshman, and it was the best experience that I had. I really wanted to come back, and I came back as a junior, and I had a great experience with the American Choral Directors Association, and now I'm able to be a part of this. Music has really impacted my life, and I'm very happy to not only share it with my friends over there, but as well as with you all, because we have an excellent music program at Washington, and I'm very happy to show all the hard work we've done. I want to take this time to thank all of the directors that I've been fortunate enough to work with, who have made an impact on me and have helped me grow as a musician. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Sarah Ward, and I will be singing Soprano 2 at the WVMEA All-State this year. All-State means a lot to me, particularly because it was one of the first really transformative high school experiences I had, because I was able to participate in it when I was just a freshman in high school. And this trip to Charleston this year is particularly nostalgic for me because I'm a senior and it's the last trip I'll be able to take. But also because I've not been able to return to Charleston for all state since my freshman year because of COVID. So it's very special to me. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity tonight.
Good evening. My name is Bryn Bartlett. I'm a senior and I'll be singing Soprano 1 at WMEA All-State. Yeah. This will be my fourth and final All-State conference that I attend in high school. It's been great. It's been an honor to attend all these years. And there will be tears when it is over. It's been a lot of hard work. I've done music all my life, and it's great to go and be with other musicians who are just as dedicated and as talented as those people over there. And it's been a great honor, and I'm very excited to go this week. Thank you.
Just before we sing for you, Maya's going to come and introduce the song that we're going to be singing. It's one from Allstate. And as a note, anytime you need some entertainment, we're always available to sing at any board meeting. We sing a lot. We have lots of repertoire. Mrs. Marcus knows that. She fully supports us. So anytime you need a choir, just call.
Good evening. My name is Maya Edwards, and I will be singing the alto 2 part at the WBMEA Music Conference. I'm a sophomore. This is my first ever music conference, and I'm very, very excited. The piece that we will be singing for you tonight is a portion of the song, The Gift to Be Free, composed by Gwyneth Walker. She made this piece specifically for this all-state choir, so it is an honor to be the first time it is ever performed. And I am very proud to have my lovely group of friends sing this for you, and I hope you enjoy.
Always leave them wanting more. It's like, you're going that way. Bring them back around. I'd love to get a picture. Yes, back around the other side. So they're going to come back through and get with the board for a picture. I think also another round of applause is well deserved. I think our students are incredibly happy to be back, and it's a real testament to their dedication and their hard work that they have continued to push and achieve so much, especially given all of the restrictions and all of the disappointments that they've had over the last few years. So I know everyone's excited to be a part of that. Here they are. Flash photography is encouraged. All right, we can't wait to hear from Charleston. Break a leg. All right, the arts is exciting, but we're also thriving in instruction here in Jefferson County Schools. We have had students from fourth grade all the way through seniors participating recently in Math Field Day, and we felt it appropriate to recognize those students as well. So I'd like to invite Mr. Brian Bauer up, who is our coordinator for Math Field Day this year, to introduce those students.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gibson. Thank you, board members, for having us tonight. We would like to honor the accomplishments of our Math Field Day students. These students have worked incredibly hard to compete in the County Math Field Day. These students competed in a variety of math tests at the elementary, middle, and high school levels. And the top students in each level have now qualified to represent Jefferson County at the regional competition on March 14th. These students have worked hard along with the teachers that have coached them, and Jefferson County should be proud of these students and their accomplishments. Good luck to all regional participants. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and have any of the participants that are here tonight can go ahead and make their way up this way to the stage, and I'm going to read off the names on their way up. So if you're here tonight, come on up. And I'm going to start reading off the names. So in fourth grade, we had Jonathan Gutzman, Amelia Mabry, Daniel Healy, Christian Billick, and Colin Pearson. In fifth grade, we had Owen Twyford, Lila McHenry, Edgar Gallardo, Max Alexander, and Brylan Carney. Sixth grade was Cadman Kiesecker, Camden Boone, Clayton Stockliffer, Ben Elliott, and Joey Puzzini. Seventh grade, Santiago Smith, Andrew Viteri, Jake Marcus, Mason Meager, Aylin Godfrey. In eighth grade, we had Avon Thorne, Aiden Cunningham, Emilio Perez Diggs, Giancarlo Rose, and Aurora Rod. Ninth grade, our winners were Ryan DeWitt, Megan Brady, Brandon Liu, Aiden Aldrich, Alexander DeFlack. And our high school list, which is a little bit longer, encompasses 10th through 12th grade. And we had Colin Goodell, Samuel Coram, Kyle DeNoble, Eli Dillo, Luca Parker, Sophie Stewart, Zoe Bailey, Asley Koch, Ethan Fisher, Alex Hall, Katie McGivern, Tyler Miesenthal, Christian Gottlieb, Layla Kibler, Adam Sharp, Layla Parker, Drew Campbell, Justin Gottlieb, Spence Powell, and Joss Poteet. Congratulations to all of those Math Field Day winners.
And a round of applause to Mr. Bauer, who put in a lot of hard work in coordinating all of this. case you all thought you were done, absolutely not. You can always count on something fun here at the Jefferson County Board of Education meeting because so much hard work went into this. And I think because it is such a big deal for you to go and represent the county, I wanted you all to introduce yourselves, tell them your name, what school you are, and what you love most about math.
So I am Daniel Healy from CW Shipley, and I love decimals about math.
Excellent point. All right. How about you, sir?
My name's Aiden Cunningham. I'm from Harpers Ferry Middle and I guess solving things.
Good solution. You, sir?
My name is Christian Billock. I go to Wright Denny Intermediate, and my favorite thing about math is multiplication.
Nice. All right. How about you, sir?
My name is Jonathan Gutzman, and I go to school at Wright Denny Intermediate. And my favorite part about math is probably algebra.
How about you, ma'am?
My name is Amelia Mabry. I go to Wright Denny Intermediate, and I like all math.
All math. Okay. All inclusive. Great. How about you, sir?
My name is Ryan. I do Washington High School, and my favorite part about math is thinking, doing riddles, and trigonometry.
How about you, sir?
My name is Mason Maher. I go to Charlestown Middle, and my favorite thing is square roots.
Okay. You, ma'am?
I'm Megan Brady. I'm from Washington, and my favorite thing is that my math homework is the shortest amount of time spent on homework.
She's honest. All right, ma'am. How about you?
I'm Lila McHenry from Wright Denny Intermediate, and I love division.
Okay. How about you, sir?
I'm Owen Twyford from Wright Denny Intermediate, and I love long division.
Great. Sir?
I'm Sam Corum from Jefferson High School, and I like addition.
Adds up. All right. How about you?
I'm Eli Dillo from Jefferson High School, and I like the numbers.
Ma'am?
I'm Aslı Koç. I'm a foreign exchange student from Turkey, and I like trig, even though it was not on the math field day test.
You, ma'am?
My name is Sophie Stewart. I go to Jefferson High School. I'm a junior, and my favorite thing about math is I'm the only girl in my calculus class right now.
For you. How about you, sir?
I'm Spencer Powell. I'm from Jefferson, and just like him, I also like numbers.
Sir, how about you?
My name is Alexander Druflack, and I also like numbers.
Great. All right. How about you, sir?
My name is Brandon Liu. I'm from Washington High School and I like the number 8.
Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Regional Math Field Day will be competing in the Regional Math Field Day. Thank you all very, very much. And if all the Math Field Day participants would please stick around in the hallway, we do have some certificates of recognition. Mr. Bauer is going to be doing one last duty as the coordinator to hand out. Yes, ma'am.
People have heard of Wordle online and they're playing that. There's also a game called Nerdle, and that has to do with math. So if you like math, that's easy to get hooked
I
on.
thought you were going to say Star Trek. As soon as I said Nerdle, I was like, oh, I'm in. All right, something that's a little bit more my speed, but I still don't think I could hold a candle to these folks. Our social studies fair this year, we have a number of winners who are going to be going to represent Jefferson County schools in the regional. I would like to invite all of those students up to the stage, as well as Nancy McManus, principal at Shepherdstown Elementary School, and Rebecca Horn, principal at Shepherdstown Middle School, to help recognize these outstanding students. Never mind. Rebecca Horn from the middle. I know you'll jump right up and help out. I appreciate it. Ms. Horn.
Good evening. I have the great privilege of recognizing our participants for the Jefferson County Social Studies Fair who did an amazing feat. Every single participant swept every category in first place. Their projects were high interest, high research, and well done. And we are very proud to have them represent Jefferson County Schools next week at the regional fair. At this time, I'd like to introduce our winners. First place in sociology is Jillian Dilla with Banned Books. First place in U.S. history with Lessons of Apollo 13 is Joel Dillow. First place in world history with the history of wound closure is Noel Nicodemus. First place in economics with a project on inflation is Madison Tansky. Not here tonight, but I would also like to recognize Hannah Hunter, who had first place in psychology on eating disorders. Congratulations to our winners.
If math can do it, so can social studies. All right, so we heard a little bit about your project on inflation. What is your biggest takeaway?
That there are ways to resolve it, but a lot of people don't know about that.
She'll be sharing it soon. We'll fix this. Wound closure, was it?
Yes.
What's your biggest takeaway on wound closure?
Nothing much has changed over the years.
Healing is healing.
Yes.
And your project was, remind me?
Banned books.
Banned books. What did you learn about banned books?
Most academic articles are against it.
Because it usually stirs up interest. What was, name a, like when you were researching this, what got you interested?
Well, I really like books and I like reading banned books, so.
Gets you a good list, good start. And your project again, I'm sorry.
It was the lessons of Apollo 13.
What lessons were there?
Well, my main question was whether it was a success or a failure, and I would say that it was a success.
Great. Well, we'll learn more at the next stage of competition at Musselman High School next week. Good luck, everybody. Thanks for representing Jefferson County Schools. Thanks to everybody who came out tonight to celebrate these students and spend time with us this evening. Thank you, Board of Education, for recognizing their hard work. They've been doing these amazing things all along, and we're so excited to be able to bring them back here to be properly recognized. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fogel. It is just wonderful to be able to recognize students. And not only are we recognizing students this evening, but we're also recognizing a fellow board member. And I was wondering if I could have a motion to move up in the agenda number 13D to do that next. Is there a motion to do that?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Ogden. All in favor of moving number 13D to now?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much. So now we have the honor of acknowledging Mr. Cable's service on the board. And we all know he resigned effective February 14th. He's going to be terribly missed, but we want to just take a moment and let him know how grateful we are for his 16 years of service. And I don't know if they gave me the plaque for this one, Mr. Cable. If you wouldn't mind coming up here. Just go to the podium. I'll come down to you. This is a plaque, and it says, "A society grows weak when an old man plants trees in whose shade they know they will never sit." Thank you for helping us be great for children, presented by Jefferson County Schools to Mr. Gary Cable in honor of 16 years of dedicated service. 16 years. That's longer than any one student is in our system. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna stay a little bit.
Say a few words.
You might reject, you might not like this.
Dad, come around to the side. They want you to talk to them. Come around.
Okay.
That's what she's doing.
With this thing, it doesn't make any difference which way I go. I don't know. It's been a good time being a part of Jefferson County Schools. It's changed a lot in the 16 years I've been on it. We've had a lot of good people working on it, both on the board and with the board and in our schools. We've got a great county system. I'm proud of it. We've worked over the years to make it better, and I hope we have. I hope it keeps going, that our schools remain in the top of the state, and I hope we are able to continue getting first-class teachers and people in the operation of the system. So it's been a pleasure for me to work within the county schools with the people that are there and work with our kids. I think it's been good for me. I hope it's been good for the kids. And thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, now I believe we have a few presentations. The first one being New Schools Education Specification Committee Interior Design Presentation.
Okay, that's a lot to follow, but actually it seems like there's a little bit of a theme. It takes a long time and a lot of hard work to get good at things and to build things and to keep them going. And you know, certainly systems change, we grow, there's new people, and sometimes folks don't always know everything that went into something. So before we have our architect and some of our committee folks step up, I wanted to give a little bit of the history of this. A lot of folks, I think, aren't aware that we started this process back in 2016, if you'll remember. At that time, we actually started doing working with the Jefferson County Planning Office, and they were wonderful. We did a heat map of all of the residential permits in the county to start figuring out where our growth was going to be, because we knew it was coming. We went through a long redistricting process, listened to a lot of people, were very thoughtful about that movement because we wanted to make sure that we were as efficient as possible about placing students and didn't ask for money and buildings if we didn't need them. We had Thrasher come in at no cost to us and do an evaluation of every piece of land in Jefferson County that could possibly be suitable for building schools. We went to the School Building Authority. If you'll remember, that was the first year we went to the School Building Authority and met with them and said, we're seeing a lot of growth. We've got a lot of movement, and we know that we're going to need some new schools. 2017, we purchased not one, but two pieces of property. one in Ransom, 156 beautiful flat acres with less than 5 feet of elevation change from one to the other, and another in Shepherdstown, 101 acres. On both of those, we did an incredible amount of due diligence. Full credit to the board for being so mindful about doing an environmental assessment, doing core drilling, having a historical review on all of those, knowing upfront where we were at with utilities, where we were at with underground, karstology. There was just so much work that went into that. And then in 2018, we did an Embracing the Future survey. And who could have known what we were embracing? But we surveyed the entire community, what they wanted to see in schools. We launched a comprehensive facility review of every single facility in this county, from doors to HVAC systems to top to bottom, floors, doors, windows, everything that we had. And then came back in 2019. I don't know if you remember this. We had 11 full committees with 68 people from throughout the community and parents and different organizations: safety and security, school and vehicular safety and traffic improvement, social, emotional, and mental health, athletic facilities, technology committee. We had, they were all over the place. Fine and related arts, community outreach, education instruction, school maintenance, business partnerships. We put all of that online out for public comment, put all of that back in, and then had a series of public hearings at schools in the county. And I think it seemed like 100 board meetings, but might've been like 6 or 7 board meetings to go over that again and again and again. And in 2020, the board approved that bond, and the voters saw all the work that had gone into it. And exactly 12,236 people in this county saw the work and the effort and the time and the care and the data that had gone into this. And they said, absolutely, yes, I trust you. Let's get this done. It's the right thing for kids. We need it. Let's go. And we then went, and when I say we, Ms. Skinner and I went down to Charleston and made the case to the school building authority about all of the work that folks here had done, and were very blessed to get another $7 million on top of that, where they said, you guys have done a great job here. And since then, in the past year, we have had ed spec committees of teachers and service personnel. We've had particularly wonderful, both of which I attended, different student committees at both of the schools. They had fabulous ideas. I really liked the tree slide. That was a personal favorite. We've met with Mayor Oxer and Mayor Pearson, Shepherdstown City Council, City Manager in Ransom. Cannot say enough about their community cooperation and their support. They have been behind us 100%. They have made excellent suggestions. They have helped us to refine our plan. Our LSIC committees, which are coming and meeting with you every other Monday that you're not here. A lot of positive input into these plans. So it's been an amazing 6 years. And there were a few other little things that happened on the way in the last 6 years, but I am so delighted that we've gotten to this point. And quite frankly, I think there's another amazing 6 years to come. So with that, I'd like to bring up Mr. Randy Jones and Ms. Joyce White to talk about the latest step in this process.
Thank you, Dr. Gibson-Learn. And that was certainly a lot of work, and it was just the beginning, actually, what she described. We're now in several phases. As you know, we were awarded $7 million for SBA funding, which ties us to the school building authority process and how we must outline our process to build schools. So in doing that, the first order of business after we accepted the grant was to bring on an architect, and we had about 10 firms competing for the job of our new schools. And after we had an interview committee and much thought and deliberation, we brought on ZMM, Mr. Randy Jones standing back to my right, being the principal architect. And he began the planning phase of this project, which is where we are now. We've turned in a planning phase. a schematic design phase, and we're currently working on the design development phase. In doing that, part of the process and the West Virginia Department of Ed policy is also to have a education specification committee. So I'm going to turn the presentation over to members of each of the education specification committees in alphabetical order, first with Ransom and then with Shepherdstown. Randy's going to go over with you the site plan and the floor plan, and then we're going to turn it over to the masterminds behind our planning project, and those would be our staff. We even have a student who is representing tonight. So I'm very excited to first introduce Ransom. If you'd come forward, please. And we'll start off with Mr. Jones.
I'll give them a second to come up. And if you can go ahead and pull up our presentation. Wanted to quickly just review the site plans that we shared with you the last time I was before the board, and then also share with you the floor plans. That was something we were not able to share with you at that time due to a technical glitch. So you have a copy of the entire presentation tonight. I went ahead and included a larger floor plan so that you could read all of the individual room names without having a magnifying glass. So hopefully you have everything that you need. Let's go ahead and forward to our site plans. So this is just the overall site plan that you've seen before. And of course, this is a lot of acreage here, and we're using the area in green for the new elementary school. And the remaining area is allocated for any kind of future schools that might go on that side of possible middle school and high school. You'll notice we have two ways in and out of the site with the access road. That would be a school-owned road. So that will help us in another way. Go to the next one. The main features of the site are that we have separated parent pickup and drop-off area and buses. Because this access road is your private road, we can also allow parents to stack up onto that, so that I know there's a lot of parent pickup and drop-off areas. So I think we have a lot shown, but if it does spill over, it will spill over onto your private road. We also have service areas that are separated, and we also have all of the play areas, playgrounds, green fields, all shown to the rear away from the traffic areas. Let's go to the next one. So the floor plan for Ransom is basically set up so that all of our common areas are across the front of the building. We have the cafeteria. If you start at the left, we have the cafeteria, the stage, and the gym. The stage does open to both the gymnasium and the cafeteria. We have our main entrance, our administration area in pink. And then we have some additional areas there. There's a, got my notes here. We have a parent center, which is a great parent resource center that helps parents, and they have a place to come. We also have our 2 STEM labs, our art room, and our music room. And the music room is kind of tucked by itself so that it won't disturb the rest of the school. The actual academic areas of the plan are to the rear. We have zoned the building so that it can be shut down and used in different ways. We have the media center located right in the middle in purple. And then the academic areas can each be locked off, and they can be separated when the building is being used for community use. So all those areas, and then we also have shown there in gray any kind of future additions that might be needed in the future. So we have a plan for those as well. I'm going to turn it over to the committee and let them share their thoughts.
We're going to start with the principal, Mr. Lance Astorino. I will let him introduce his committee members that are here tonight, and then they will do the rest of the presentation about their new school.
So as Mrs. White had said, I am the principal at Ransom Elementary. And behind me, I have Kathy Milner, who is our Title I facilitator, Carrie Schnabley, who is a 2nd grade teacher, Rebecca Mills, 1st grade, Ann Miller, kindergarten teacher. So on behalf of Ransom Elementary, thank you for giving us this opportunity to share our excitement as we move towards the opening of the new Ransom Elementary. The new Ransom Elementary will provide our staff, students, and most importantly, our community, the opportunities that the current building cannot. The new school will provide a mental health and community support pods, and these are both drastically vital in providing our students and community the next level commitment, support, and opportunities. As we embarked on this exciting adventure over the past year and a half, we created 2 school building teams, one with staff and one with our students. Those team members gathered input and ideas from their colleagues and their peers. Throughout this process, several words and phrases between the 2 committees echoed very loudly. Those being new opportunities, bright, open, flexibility, community connection, collaborative spaces, and colorful, just to name a few. Some of our school building team members, as I've already said, are behind me and are here this evening and would like to share their perspective and their enthusiasm as we move forward.
Hi. Schools should strive to create an environment where all children feel valued and all children can learn. By featuring flags for each of our students' heritage within our main walkway as you enter the building, our students will feel comfortable and safe, as well as represented within our school as a vital and valuable member of our RES family. One town, one school, one family. It is important at RES to embrace cultural heritage and is something that all human beings share. Wherever we come from, there is a culture that follows us from that place. No matter where our students grow up, where they go, their culture will always be something they can take with them. As human beings, when we understand something, we value that thing. And when we value something, we will protect that thing and we will strive to learn even more. Through the representation of the flags, our students at RES will be inspired to connect to their culture and then in turn to connect with each other. By involving our RES kiddos in creating a mural for our new school, they are actively changing the space. They are engaged in an opportunity to communicate with their peers about issues and topics important to them. It will be on display at any time of any day for anyone to see. There is no more authentic, relevant project for students to create together than a mural. This mural will communicate what our school community values, appreciates, and wants to see for the future. Not only will our final product beautify and uplift the space, it will give a sense of ownership back to RES students and stakeholders.
Hi, I'm Carrie Schnabley, and I teach 2nd grade at Ransom, and I've taught at Ransom for 33 years. And thinking of teaching at a new state-of-the-art elementary school is both incredibly exciting and a bit overwhelming. But since I have been part of this committee and we have gone through the things with the people, it has become much more exciting rather than overwhelming. So if we could look at the classroom, that's what I'm going to be speaking to. We're super excited about this. Our classrooms will be bigger than what we have now. They have a designation for whole group and small group by, you can see with the flooring. We will have a whole wall that is magnetic whiteboard, that whole entire wall, which is a teacher's dream come true. And there will be lots of natural light with the windows, and we'll have lockers right in the classroom, which will eliminate the coats and backpacks that we currently have all over our floor in the limited space that we have to keep them. We have cabinets with lots of storage. We'll have a sink in the room. Bookcases will be provided. And the most exciting thing of all is the rocket nook. That's cut right into the wall, and it will have cushions and pillows inside there for a special reading area for the students. Our colors will be red and black, which are our school colors, with a little bit of orange thrown in there. So the new Ransom will be a colorful visual representation of Ransom Elementary's diversity and loyalty to our Ransom community and to our students and their education. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Mills. I teach first grade at Ransom Elementary. This is my second year there. And tonight I'm going to speak on behalf of the STEAM labs as well as the specials such as library, music and art in the gym. I know with the STEAM labs, we're extremely excited to have those opportunities for our students because we do a lot of hands-on learning. Since we have 2 of them, one will be dedicated just to our school and the other one will be open up for students in the county to come and enjoy too. With our gym, he's extremely excited to have extra space. He said in the gym, and our music teacher is excited to have the stage to do performances. That's something we lack now at our school, or as well as we have a guest speaker. With the art classroom, she's happy to have an outside access where they can do outdoor art, or they can just take some breathing time outside, and they have a lot of natural light in there, which is something she currently doesn't have. And then with our library, she's loving that it's at a centralized location in the school with a lot more space and reading nooks for our kids to have. So we are extremely excited for our growth as a school compared to what we have currently.
Hi, I'm Ann Miller and I teach kindergarten at Ransom. We are excited about the grounds at the new location. Over the past 10 years, our wellness committee, with the support of several grants, have added a walking path, outdoor classroom with a rock labyrinth, and a garden. We are looking forward to the new and upgraded walking path, which will include 2 lengths, a garden area, which we hope to include a greenhouse, and more than one location for outdoor learning. Students will have an area for outdoor eating adjacent to the cafeteria. We will have 2 separate play areas for different grade levels. It is a relief to know that we will begin our new location with so much already in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ransom Rockets. Next, we're going to hear from Shepherdstown Elementary School. We will start off with Mr. Jones, who will review site plans and floor plans, and then we'll hear from the staff of Shepherdstown Elementary, if you'll come forward.
So while they're coming up, I'll quickly review the site plans again. Again, we have a really amazing site. We have a lot of acreage to work with. We have the ability to expand for a future middle school. The area in green is what's allocated towards the new elementary school. And we also have an access road that will allow 2 ways in and out of the site. If we can go to the next one, it shows the site a little bit larger. Similar to Ransom, we have the buses separated from the parent pickup and drop off area, service areas to the back. All of our play fields and playgrounds are all on the back side of the building, away from any type of vehicular traffic. So we have everything zoned fairly well as well. For the floor plan, has a very similar look to Ransom. However, we do have some different features, different changes. We have, again, the same thing on the front of the building. We have all of our common areas located across the front with a centralized library. We do have the art, the STEM lab located side by side on the front of the building with an outdoor classroom area. These spaces will feature large glass overhead doors that will open and allow students to go out into the art courts. So we're really excited about that. And then also music is located to the rear. I'm going to turn it over to the committee because I'm sure they have a lot they would like to say.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nancy McManus. I have the honor of being the principal at Shepherdstown Elementary. I'm going to introduce my staff members to you that have come tonight and been part of the spec committee. I'd like to introduce Casey Frazier, first grade teacher, Carrie Gill, head teacher and interventionist. Behind me, Liz Sutherland, fourth grade teacher, and fifth grade teacher, Deb Kraus. I also have some very special students with me this evening. I'm going to introduce Brody Shepard. He's a fifth grader at my school, and his twin sister, Rylan Shepard. They're here to represent the students. What can I say? But thank you to our school board for getting us to the place we are today. I am a grandparent of students at Shepherdstown Elementary. My children also went to Shepherdstown Elementary, and it's been generations of constant conversation about the need for a new school. We are excited to be here this evening to talk about our new school. The process has been exciting. Everyone is so excited to hear about the beautiful school that we're going to be able to participate in, be a part of in the planning process, as well as to physically go into a school where children will have the best of everything to learn in an environment that is safe, healthy, much more space than we have now. And those of you who have had children at Shepherdstown, space is an issue in our building, or I should say lack of space. I don't know who's more excited, my specialist teachers or the children. We are going to have a true gym. If any of you have been to Shepherdstown Elementary, you know the gym is really small. It's not even the normal size gym for basketball games and things such as that. My music teacher is excited about the stage that we're going to have access to. We're also excited about the possibility of Shepherd University joining us in using our facility and the room, the stage as well for classes with students coming into our building to observe our students, to be part of the teaching right from the beginning from those college students. The excitement has been overwhelming. I can hear from parents all the time, when are we getting the new school? When is it coming? They can't wait. We've had many issues over the years about heating, air conditioning, don't touching the windows could fall out. We've had many of those concerns, but everyone is excited in Shepherdstown. We are part of a unique community where tradition is really very much a part of our pride and our culture. But giving up the old school is not something they're going to worry about keeping. They're excited for the new school and looking forward to new traditions. Shepherdstown Elementary has had the students eagerly engaged in the process. And at this time, I would like to turn the mic over to Brody Shepherd, one of our students, to share with you from his mouth to your ears the excitement about this new school. Brody.
Hello, Dr. Gibson and school board members. My name is Brody Shepherd, and I am a 5th grade student at Shepherdstown Elementary. I would like to share with you how exciting it has been for me and the other students at Shepherdstown Elementary to be a part of the planning for the next Shepherdstown Elementary School. I was chosen along with other students to be a member of the new school student committee. We met with the school architects, Dr. Gibson and Ms. White, to discuss what we would like to see in our new school. The students shared ideas for colors, geometric designs for the ceilings and walls, as well as some fun things that could be considered for the new school. One student suggested a slide that gets into the school building, and we all love that idea, even though I know that is never going to happen. We talked about having a nice big gym, climbing walls, outdoor classrooms, and playgrounds. It will be awesome to see and use. The Hagerstown news station came to our school to interview students on the committee, and it was fun to see our interviews on the evening news. Our school staff and students discussed whether or not to keep our school mascot of the Roadrunners when we got into the new school. To be honest with you, many kids have never seen a Roadrunner. We decided to have a vote for the new mascot. Each classroom suggested 3 mascot ideas, and the teacher created a ballot of 3 mascots based on all the ideas shared. We had a school vote, and when the new school opens, Shepherdstown Elementary will be the Black Bears. We will be happy to be the Shepherdstown Roadrunners until we get to the new school. The sad news is that I won't be able to attend the new elementary school, but I know we will be able to visit when it opens. It's been a lot of fun thinking and planning for the new school. Thank you for making the new school happen for the future Shepherdstown Elementary School students. Thank you for giving me this chance to speak to you this evening.
So you got to hear a little bit of the discussions that took place with the new students committee. And Dr. Gibson, I know you enjoyed your time with our kiddos. They were so much fun, and they could have talked forever and ever and ever about the ideas they had for our new school. Next up, I'd like to ask Liz Sutherland to come up and speak on behalf of the staff at Shepherdstown Elementary. Liz.
Thank you very much. We are excited. I know we keep hearing that word, but we really are excited. It's been a long road for us. As we heard, there's been some issues at Shepherdstown, leaky roofs and windows falling out, things like that. So we are definitely, as a staff, very thrilled and grateful to have this new school for us. It has been a collaboration from the beginning, and I think that has really meant a lot to us, that our voices have been heard. I know for the rest of the staff, we all got together, we all talked, and it was interesting to hear the different things that everybody wanted and everybody needed, that we felt was the best environment for our students. We love the idea of bringing West Virginia as part of our school and the culture of West Virginia. We're very proud of that. Obviously, my voice doesn't show that because I'm not from West Virginia, but we are very proud to be West Virginians and bring that into our school, which is why we went ahead and talked about having the Black Bears versus the Roadrunners. Again, we're very grateful that the architects listened to what we were saying with color schemes and things like that, that we have given lots of input into. Again, very much like Ransom, we have had lots of input in regards to what we would like, outdoor classrooms, and the big thing is collaborative spaces. As Ms. McManus said, we are a tiny school and not so much room for that. So we're excited for the bigger opportunities to collaborate within grade levels, within classrooms. So we're excited for that. Having the stage and being able to perform. I know Miss Lycia, our music director, is thrilled to be able to put on the shows that she's always envisioned, but not being able to do without a lot of maneuvering in our tiny gym. And Miss Dudash for having a full-size gym is a dream come true for her. Ms. Kraus, did you have anything to say about the STEAM labs? You were I know you were excited about the STEAM labs.
Just I hope I get a chance to apply for that position.
So, yeah, we are just thrilled, and thanks so much to Joyce White for recognizing that you have all these experts that know what a classroom should look like, should feel like, and allowing the students to have a voice and to allowing us to have a voice too. So thank you.
Next up, Mr. Gill.
I didn't actually prepare a speech, so I'm going to kind of wing this, but I just want to say that I started with one of the early LSIC, and I can remember giving the presentations about a new school, and I can remember doing the PowerPoints and putting in the brand new school and thinking, come on, come on, come on. So at this very moment, I just want to say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And thank you to the voters of Jefferson County.
Yes. So, as we all have stated, thank you for making our dreams come true in Shepherdstown and in Ransom. We look forward to all the future plans. Look at that beautiful school. Is it that gorgeous? The beauty of it inside is overwhelming. These teachers have planned what the classroom's going to look like. They've had so much input, and I truly do appreciate that, because I have been involved with planning a new school, whereas the staff did not have any input into the design. So it's unique that West Virginia allows such input from staff, parents, and students, and the LSIC committees. They've worked hard in Shepherdstown to make this dream come true. So on behalf of everyone in Shepherdstown, thank you, and we look forward to the future Shepherdstown Elementary.
And unless the board has questions, this concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Ogden.
I just had a quick question. I think more for Randy, I think, yes. The only question I had with Shepherdstown was, would it be beneficial for us long-term as I look at that school and I think about some of the things we've added to the other schools, meaning the covered walkways that are longer and extended. So as students get off the bus, I'm thinking if the buses are lining up, we're dropping students off way down this pathway, would it be more beneficial cost-wise for us to go ahead and add a nice matching metal extension down that way to cover staff and students for that? So that's the only kind of thing I saw in this plan. And then in the Ransom plan, the only question I had long-term was if we can think about number one, for both schools, actually, is the gym actually large enough? Because how many students? So I'm thinking if it has that many students, I need at least 2 to 3 adults to go with every student and make sure that that's how many people can sit in those stands. Whether it's for our, parents, grandparents. I know I've been to plenty of fun stage things that happened even at Driftwood. And it's not big enough. And it's a newer school. So yeah, so if we need to enlarge it, when do we need to do that before it gets built? But that would be my only thought there. The 2 sped rooms that we have, I think that's what they are over here. I would talk with the staff and see if we move, because sped rooms look like they're right across from music. And
Which one at?
on Ransom's plan. And so I'm thinking for noise issues, sometimes depending on how soundproof that room is, that may be a problem, but I don't know if that's what those rooms are.
Okay.
So if we flip that down to the other side, it still looks like it would allow the art room to have the outside, or move the art to the other end. So it has an end room for space to get outside, because I think they said they liked that. And then the STEAM labs in between.
Right.
And that would allow the music to be far enough away from those rooms if they are special education rooms, just for sound with sensory issues. And making sure that also part of the bill is that we are providing a mobile window cleaning machine that lifts you up, because we have those in every building. So I don't want to say, yes, we're going to build this unless I know we have a machine that lifts us up to get those windows clean, because that's not only going to drive me nuts, it's going to drive some of the type A teacher personality we have to walk up on the building and have the dust bunnies up in there because we can't get to them. So I think they're beautiful designs, but yeah, just make sure that we have what we need from the get-go.
Great. Thank you.
That's the only thing. And heating and air. Because of the higher ceilings and whatnot, how is that going to affect the heating and air?
Well,
from that?
we're fortunate because we'll have a geothermal system, and then
I wondered about
we will
wonderful.
also have the ductwork that will come down lower. Even though we have some high spaces, it will still come
great.
down lower.
So we're going to do geothermal at both new schools.
Yes.
Wonderful. Perfect. Okay.
And, oh, go ahead, Dr. Joyce.
Yeah, I've been concerned about the road, Morgan Grove, turning into Gardeners that would lead to the property. It's only one lane and there's no sidewalks. So I'm concerned about the safety. There's been a lot of accidents in that back road. So there'll be a lot more traffic. Is this county or state helping?
So we've already worked with the Department of Highways, and we have traffic studies at both schools underway. We'll have the results of those traffic studies soon, so we can study traffic patterns and work to partner with them to make safe intersections at both schools.
Yeah, I have written to the state to get it turned into 2 lanes, because right now it's 1 lane and there's a sharp curve. So hopefully we can at least get 2 lanes.
Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
And Mr. Jones, you heard the hopes and dreams of the children. You know, the black bears, they need a tree to climb and a slide to come down.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
So I know if anybody can make it happen, you can. So good luck.
Sounds like a good feature for the media center. So.
That's right.
Wherever you put it, just make sure it's there somewhere. Thank you. And thank you for all of the hard work for you know, both of the schools, all the input you've put in, the community, the input you've put in. I remember, you know, when we first came on the board, the LSIC meetings, we had very long ones and very long pleas for a new school, and we're getting there. So thank you very much. All right, the next presentation is 3B, Black Men Read Grant Project.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Dallas Lewis, and I'm the Cultural Unity and Equity Coordinator for the district. And we're really excited to share with you some information regarding the Black Men Read Grant Project. So with me to tell you more, I'm going to introduce my friends. First is KB Sane. She is the Assistant Professor for the Contemporary Theater Studies program at Shepherd University. And then Ms. Peggy McCowan. She is the Producing Artistic Director for the Contemporary American Theater Festival at Shepherd University. Also Black Teacher Association and the Q Department, and then an additional guest which they'll introduce. So I'm going to pass the baton.
Are they seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes.
PowerPoint. Yes. Thank you. Great. Thank you. You can go ahead and move to the next one, please. Next slide. Thank you. So the Contemporary American Theater Festival is hosted on the campus of Shepherd University. We are a professional theater that is dedicated to producing and developing new American theater. But our core values are to create fearless art, to tell diverse stories, and to create a really profound relationship between the artist and the audience. And so we are honored today to be able to offer our artists and our art and our theater and our storytelling to help the students of Jefferson County schools and to help them create and enhance their cultural competency and to enhance their literacy. And I'm going to ask my colleague to join me.
Good evening. Again, my name is KB Sane. I'm the head of the Contemporary Theater Studies program at Shepherd, and we are the only contemporary theater studies program at a public university in the country. What we offer is very unique, and we are dedicated to keeping our doors open to everyone who is interested in creating and promoting American theater. We have a number of Jefferson County School students and graduates that are part of our program. So many of us are excited about the opportunity to give back. You've got a bunch of good cheerleaders. I don't know how to turn this.
The next slide. We can go to the next slide.
Cool. So I'm going to go off script for a second because what we have is an opportunity that is unique. It's unlike anything else. There's maybe 2 or 3 other programs in the country that kind of come close, but we are dedicated to providing for every single 4th grade student in the district a culturally responsive program that allows Black men to come in and read to the students. So the major goals are to provide Black male role models for students that may not see them otherwise, to introduce culturally responsive stories that we can provide for the students, greater cultural competency we already talked about, to encourage academic scholarship, to include scholastic encouragement for all of the students, to validate and to provide some kind of affirmation for the students that we do have that are students of color in the district. And then to encourage more men of color, more men in general, to return to the field of teaching.
Great, thank you. And I want to point out that this program is funded by a grant by the Rural Arts Collective. This is the 3rd grant program that we have done with them in the state of West Virginia. And so we're very excited to continue our relationship with them. But what does that mean? That means that it doesn't cost Jefferson County schools anything. And it also means that there is no additional burden on the teachers or the administrators because it's all handled within the grant itself. So we're very excited to have that opportunity to continue. And I just want to share a little bit more about the program with you. If you could move to the next slide, please. So first of all, one of the things that this program will also do is introduce dramaturgs to the Jefferson County school system. And dramaturgs are professional researchers in the theater industry and will be working with scholars from the University of Texas in Austin, the University of Virginia, and Duke University to help us curate the reading program for every fourth grade student. In addition, you'll notice the free books. One of the great things is that we will also be able to offer the students books to take home. And the other thing that will be part of it in our partnership with Shepherd University is a field trip to the university so that the students can have more live experience with reading and storytelling, but also begin to see the opportunity to go to college at Shepherd University and other schools like that.
Can I talk to that?
Yes, please.
So this part, it's because I am responsible for the actual theater during the school year. This is a piece of the project that I'm really excited about. We've actually spoken with the director of our athletics division at the school, and I have these visions of like the football players coming into the fourth grade classrooms, like in their uniforms, and then bringing all of the students out to see them play a game, to see those community members that came into their classroom out in the real world, out in on a college campus, and providing that opportunity for fourth graders. And then there's also this really obvious opportunity that we have where we can bring the students in to experience like live readings as a large group, maybe a theatrical performance that is age appropriate for fourth graders. And that's just something we haven't been able to do before. So I'm sorry to geek out, but I'm particularly excited about the opportunity to get the fourth graders out of the classroom I have a couple degrees in education. I've taught a lot of public schools along the way. It's really hard to fund field trips, and I know that. And so to know that there is outside money that we have access to that can provide these opportunities, I think is just stellar. So thanks for obliging my excitement.
If you could move to the next slide, please.
All right, and so just so exciting to support student success in this way, especially when we consider the fact that one of the effects of the Brown versus Board decision back in 1954 meant that our country lost over 80,000 Black, highly credentialed Black teachers, administrators, educators, and that included Black men. And so we still feel the effects of that today with less than 1% in the country for Black male teachers. So this is so exciting because we are very aware of the data that shows the impact that students, especially Black students who have a Black teacher between kindergarten and third grade, and just the increase of their potential to, not potential, but just an increase in them attending and applying for college and trade schools. We're also aware of the data that diverse teachers have a great impact on every student. So this is really exciting because again, our hope is that more students will see these exemplars in their fourth grade classrooms and maybe even create a school to teacher pipeline for boys of color to return in some cases to the field of teaching, and others just to come on in altogether. So together we can share reading and storytelling to motivate our children. This is an engagement tool. This is a teaching choice that elicits and engages and motivates and supports and mediates and partners in the learning with all students in a way that all of them can be appreciated. And I love that last line up there. When Black men read, children succeed. So we're really excited. And I'm gonna pass the baton right on back to Peggy.
So may we show you a little example? Can we take a minute or two and read to you? Is that all right?
We won't read the whole book, I promise. So I am currently working with Dr. Robert Tudor, who is the Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities. We are creating a Motown review that we will be performing, I won't be performing it, our students will be performing it next month. And Mr. Eddie is one of our performers and is going to be one of our readers for the program. And so while we were in rehearsal, I roped him into coming in and doing a demonstration. So if you want to introduce yourself, tell them who you are.
Well, sure. Good evening. My name is Eddie Peters, and I'm a resident of Hagerstown, Maryland. And I would just want to say also, both of my parents were special ed teachers. So I have a very special place in my heart for teaching in and of itself. And I learned at a very, very young age that teaching is the profession that teaches all the other professions. I heard that one time and I never forgot that. And so I just have that special place. So I have the privilege this evening to read just a couple of pages very briefly, a book called I Am Every Good Thing. It's written by Derek Barnes and Gordon C. James and illustrated, after I get past the autograph, illustrated by Gordon C. James. I am every good thing. I am a nonstop ball of energy. I'm a go-getter, a difference maker, a leader. I am every good thing that makes the world go round. You know, like gravity or the glow of moonbeams over a field of brand new snow. I am good to the core, like the center of a cinnamon roll. Yeah, that good. I am skateboard tricks, scraped knees and elbows. But you know what? I am right back on my feet again. I am one eye open, one eye closed, peeking through a microscope, gazing through a telescope, checking out the spaces around me and plotting out those far off places I have yet to go, but will. I'm a gentleman and a scholar. I am kind and polite like, yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. Helping my grandmother cross the street and saying, bless you, when a stranger has to sneeze. I'm a cool breeze, a perfect paper airplane that glides for blocks, for miles, forever. Thank you.
So that's just a little sample of what every fourth grade student in Jefferson County and every school in Jefferson County will hear every other week from readers just like Eddie. Thank you.
Should I sing My Girl? Oh.
You have to come to the show for that.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Dr. Drake, you could move the microphone.
Is this a month long? This flyer, it looks like it's only a month.
No, well, the grant that we have received is actually for 2 years. What you're looking at is the launch module so that we can start and then get feedback and see how we want to build the program moving into the next 2 years. So this is just a short sort of beginning module.
And the grant covers 2 years? And what time during the day does it occur?
Right. Well, that's an excellent question. One of the things that we're doing right now is working with the school coordinators to identify when in the classroom period we would be there. So we will coordinate that among the 10 schools and figure that out. But it'll probably be during their ELA time is most likely.
Tanya Dallas Lewis said that first. Oh, excuse me, Ms. Dallas Lewis said first through third was the crucial time. So why are you choosing fourth grade?
That actually comes from research from Dr. Jawanda Kunjufu. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but an amazing American psychologist, educator, psychologist, author. He talks about something called the fourth grade syndrome. And this is something that his research shows that Black boys in particular can be some of the best students across the country, but something happens between third and fourth grade, and then there's a decline. And he lists some really, really powerful reasons and offers teachers and educators and the workshops and the PDs that he offers and in service to kind of look and explore all those things. So that research was really pivotal and why we decided to choose fourth grade specifically, really for all students, but again, just making sure and ensuring that we take an opportunity to work together as a community and provide some exemplars, some role models, just access to the classroom where students have access to teachers that they may not normally see. And so that's why we chose the 4th grade.
I just have one more question. You said athletes, is that only Black athletes are participating?
The idea is Black men read, so we would be bringing Black men from within the Shepherdstown, the greater Shepherdstown community into the schools.
Oh, so the community, not just the students and the.
We are partnering with the school because that's where we're based, but no, we definitely have already done a decent amount of outreach to the broader community. So the idea is that someone may come into the classroom to read for 2 or 3 alternate weeks in a row. And then like the students would see them in the grocery store, or they would, see them, in their church or in any other location, just to put faces to names and those relationships in practice within the community.
I don't know why I thought it was the actors.
There will be, many of them are actors and storytellers. The ones that are not, we have committed to doing some acting training and some coaching to make sure that they are presenting the stories the way that we think will be the most engaging for the students.
Thank you.
That's that I'd like to make. First of all, I'd like to thank you for reading to us. That was amazing. I think it is very, very important to get our students on campus. We do not use Shepherd College to the extent that we should. And getting those students on campus and seeing that campus gets them on the hook. And it is very important to get them on the hook as early as possible. And I also think it's very important to entice males to get into the teaching field. If you look at statistics, our schools are filled with so many females now and very few males. And it's very important to keep them in the classroom as well and not in administration all the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we look forward to the program. And speaking of programs, I looked for the CATF schedule last night and it's not up yet. So hopefully it's coming.
So close.
Okay.
This month, you'll see it. So we have to see the schedule.
That's on the music department's page. It's a co-production between the theater and the music. So all that information is on the music page.
Wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have 3C, JVA Jefferson Virtual Academy Update 22-23. 23, that sounds so far away, but I guess it's not.
Remember when 22 seemed like it was far away?
It still does.
Yeah. Good evening, board members. We wanted to bring you some information related to JVA tonight. You may ask why so early. Right now, our counselors are working with students to prepare next year's schedule. Also, our parents are wondering about JVA, if there are any changes, if it might be a good fit for their child, and whether or not they're going to make application to be a part of JVA. So it is a good time to consider those changes. And we wanted to bring you some changes that we anticipate making in the program for next year, and then also entertain any questions you might have. Next slide, please. So I'm going to do the easy part tonight, and I'm going to leave it to the new guy behind me to do the hard part. Mr. Webb, our Director of Responsive Education, is with us tonight too. So in the first slide, you'll see we surveyed all those folks to find out how JVA is going. What are some suggestions for change for next year? What's working, what's not? And based on feedback we received, we met several times, talked through some potential changes, and we're bringing some of those to you tonight. One of the things we wanted to be able to do is increase our offerings. We had been unable to teach honors, AP courses, and many other courses that students, especially at the high school level, would be interested in. So that was one of the things that we did hear from this group. Additional grade levels, that was a conversation that came up. You're going to hear from Mr. Webb about K1 and also a new proposal for grade 6. And then finally, capacity. We anticipate having more K1 students And we also anticipate an increase in capacity to offer more courses for our, in particular, our high school students. When we met, we wanted to make sure that we worked within the current budget. So what we are proposing tonight does not indicate any increase in the current budget for JVA. So that's kind of how we got here. That's what we, our process that we use to get feedback about JVA. And again, we wanted to make sure that we were prepared. Last year, we were making changes all the way up until the beginning of the school year. And we want to make sure that our JVA offerings are out there for people to know now so that they can make informed decisions. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Webb.
Good evening. Next slide, please. As you'll see, there's a couple notable changes. It's nothing extremely drastic, but again, these are taking in the input that we received from the various stakeholders. First addition, we are looking at currently, we have our kindergarten and first grade together in JVA. We're looking to break those back apart next year. We believe that this is obviously the best so that, you know, a teacher can work with only kindergarten students, only first grade students. Secondly, we will be coming and requesting a sixth grade position. We felt that a lot of our sixth graders would learn best, their parents, teachers, everyone involved felt that they would learn best through a synchronous instruction there. Then moving from an elementary school to a middle school is a big enough step. And then moving from a synchronous instruction or a synchronous to asynchronous is obviously another step. So this is kind of taking down, you know, one of the steps that they're going to experience during their transition to middle school in JVA. And lastly, we are looking at the Edgenuity software. This is through the same company that we use this year, Odysseyware. It's just their updated version. So Odysseyware obviously has Odysseyware, and then they had Edgenuity, and they are moving towards Edgenuity. That is where their main support, their main offerings, they're growing their company through this new platform. It's going to look very similar to what they have, but again, it offers a variety of opportunities for our students, both through honors classes, AP, increased courses. So it just seems to be the better choice moving forward, especially if this company is going to support this particular product. Subtractions moving forward. Currently, there are 3 special education positions within JVA. 2 of them are utilized, 1 is not, stayed in their current position. We felt that we were able to adequately provide for our students through those 2 positions. So we are requesting those 2 positions for next year instead of the 3. The quantity of adjuncts will be reduced next year with the addition of Edgenuity software. It has some features that will allow greater flexibility for the students and allow them to access the material a little easier. And again, as I said before, Odysseyware is the program we're using this year, something very similar next year with Edgenuity. But again, that is the subtraction between the 2 of those. Next slide, please. And this is the last slide is just for me. I'm an extremely visual person. So for me to be able to map out what JVA looks like on paper, how it looks, this represents where we would like to move with JVA for next year, with grades K through 6 being synchronous and grades 7 through 12 being asynchronous on Edgenuity.
One point I'd like to make is this year, if you remember, we did struggle to find staff for JVA. And that's one of the reasons that K and 1 students were together, is because we were unable to find a kindergarten teacher. So we put students in K and 1 together. So with that differentiation, we do believe that we will be able to find the staff this year. We will be able to serve more students in kindergarten and first grade with this model. Any questions that you might have about the update tonight?
Mr. Banks, do you have any idea how many students you're anticipating participating in JVA next year?
We're looking at hopefully having the same amount of students that we have this year. Obviously, scheduling is ongoing, but throughout the course of this year, our numbers stayed pretty flat. So we anticipate having the same numbers that we did this year.
Thank you.
I think it's around 380 right now.
Thank you. Dr. Joy, did you have a question?
What's the student to teacher ratio?
with the K through 6 model, it would be the same ratio that the state expects us to meet. So in kindergarten, it would be 1 to 20, up to 23. And then all the way up to 6th grade, it would be 1 to 25, but you can go up to 28.
What do you have now?
All the classes are full. They started out the year full. We've had transition back and forth quite a bit this year, but it's been relatively neutral when you consider the students that are leaving JVA and the students that are coming in.
So 7th through 12th grade, there's no live instruction from a teacher, is that correct?
There is a teacher that is with the students as part of Edgenuity. It's not synchronous. It's asynchronous. So you'd have a scenario where a teacher would introduce something and then be there full time during the class period for questions from students. That's an improvement because many of our adjuncts, as you know, are full-time teachers. So their availability would be after the school day is over.
So one teacher for 7th through 12th graders? Is that right?
That would be one teacher per class.
Okay, and they just grade and just sit there in case somebody has questions, but there's no live teacher instruction.
So I think okay, so there's two sets of teachers. There's the teachers that are on Edgenuity that are providing the instruction, videotaping themselves, being able to answer questions from the student. And then there's our 4 mentors that are county-based employees. So those are our teachers that are providing additional tutoring, that are meeting with the students, that are taking attendance, that are eyes on students throughout the day.
Because I heard 7th through 12th grade is asynchronous. And so there's 4 mentors that monitor the 7th through 12th grade. And these are canned programs. Somebody's recorded them. They're not Jefferson County teachers, though. Is that correct? There's some.
Correct. The
company-
teachers on Edgenuity are not Jefferson County
Right.
employees.
So then it's 4 teachers that are mentoring the high school students. They grade and answer any questions, correct?
They don't grade as much as monitor progress within the
Who
system.
grades then?
The Edgenuity
Oh, okay.
teachers.
And how many special ed students are in your program?
I don't know that number off the top of my head.
But you don't need all 3 teachers because,
This year, JBA functioned with originally it was 3 teachers. One of them never assumed their position. There was 2 special education teachers that throughout the year provided the accommodations that were needed. And we felt that moving forward, those 2 teachers did a very good job this year, that we can move forward with those 2 for next year.
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have 3D mid-year update on superintendent goals.
So yet another presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, the man behind the scene, the man behind the curtain who gets all of this done. Thank you. As you've already seen and heard tonight, we've got a lot going on as a system. Actually, the goals. Thank you, dear. No. That one's goal number 3. So there's a presentation that has all of the goals up attached. No, that was just that's okay. We'll go through the rest of it. You have in front of you a copy of the goals and objectives. And just as a reminder, the board meets at the end of every summer and the beginning of the following school year and reviews all of the data from the previous school year and then subsequently sets goals for the coming year. So that meeting that we had in fall of 2021, the board set 4 goals for myself and the staff of the county. And I wanted to give you an update mid-year that's been posted online, and you as a board have had it to review. So I'm not going to go read through the entire thing, but I wanted to point out a couple of key actions that we've taken on goal number 1, which was recruitment and retention, which was huge for us. As you know, we developed with a set of committees a recruitment and retention plan that we put forth to the board in the fall, and the board approved the tier 1 of those items. And those included a number of different steps. So far, substitute support in schools, you've heard from the LSIC committees that those were deeply appreciated. In many cases, those are actually what have allowed us to keep schools open and to keep teachers to be able to have some planning. The attendance bonus to service personnel, which was well received and deeply appreciated. Payment of employment qualification costs. We developed a teacher leadership framework, which also included a number of different opportunities for teachers to continue to lead. I think one of the things that you've seen here in Jefferson that we've spent a lot of time and effort on is the folks who work here and do their jobs, they know what they're doing. They're good at what they do. If you want to know what you need to do for bus drivers, guess what? Ask the bus drivers. If you want to know what staff development that you need for the custodians, ask the custodians. When you get to your technology plan and you're looking for what type of devices the secretaries need, guess what you do? You put together a committee of the secretaries. So it's been very important to us as we've gone through these. It takes more time. And I think sometimes the number of our staff who were like, okay, we need your input on this. Okay, we need your survey. Okay, can you serve on this committee? It can feel like a very laborious process, but what you see is that we end up at the end with the best possible product. And I certainly think that the recruitment and retention plan and the teacher leadership framework are good examples of that. We also are making a significant amount of progress on the master staff badging program. As you know, that it will be, if every single employee takes advantage of it, and the additional $3,000 staff development payment opportunity that it provides next year. That is a $3 million program for us. We have, guess what? A very large teacher and service personnel committee who's working through that with technology. And they developed, after a significant amount of review, 4 different options. Those options were vetted through finance, through technology. They are narrowing those down, and we expect that our content development will actually start in March with the committees to pay to do that. Bus driver equity pay, HR, transportation have done a yeoman's job in creating the bus driver 1, 2, 3 job descriptions. As a matter of fact, they were looking at doing something similar at the state, and they asked for our information to be able to look at that at a different level. We also submitted a legislative request that would allow us to have a waiver for the next 2 years. To allow us to pay service personnel for the work that they are doing, and quite frankly, substituting for professionals. Now, of course, that's important for us, because right now those folks are holding us up, and they need to be compensated for that. And we're working very hard to find every possible way to make sure that that happens. And while we're taking care of the folks who are here, we are also looking to bring more folks in. As you noted, we don't have enough men going into teaching. We don't have enough people going into teaching. You know, between us and Berkeley, we could hire every single graduate of every single education program in the state of West Virginia, and we'd still have openings. So we have got to get out there and get more folks into education. We have got to go out and recruit and pull in from other places. We have greatly enhanced our video making capability. We've put out a couple of recruitment videos. We have liaisoned with universities. We're doing online job fairs. We have a couple of in-person job fairs now that they're starting to open back up. I'm very excited when our Twitter and Instagram accounts, which we've gotten up and running, come out. We're doing some modeling and drafting with some folks to see what they like and what they don't like. So again, sometimes I think that just the amount of work that goes into preparing to launch these things successfully, it's important for folks to recognize that. I also want to point out under our goal number 2, and that's a great time to bring up the data sheet. One of the things that we wanted to look at as well, as you saw, we have some amazing programs here in Jefferson County Schools. And what was important to us was to ensure that everyone has equal access to those programs. So we did a data audit of our accelerated performance programs, gifted, honors, AP, dual enrollment. And we took 3 years worth of data and we essentially compared the presence of those minority populations against their presence in the school system versus their presence in our accelerated performance programs. And we found some very interesting results. We had an expectation that we might see a larger gap in minority representation in terms of racial minorities. And actually, that was not the case. We did not see significant majority, significant statistical differences in their presence in these accelerated programs. What we did find was a significant difference for students with low socioeconomic status. So we found that across every one of our programs, gifted, honors, AP, dual enrollment, and CTE completion, we had double-digit gaps between the percentage of these students occurring in our natural population and the percentage of them participating in these accelerated performance programs. So we sat down once again, not surprisingly, with a committee of educators and counselors, and we've developed a qualitative survey and then are doing a statistical sampling of several different groups, parents, 5th grade teachers, middle school teachers, middle school counselors, high school counselors, students who are in the low SES category and chose to participate in an accelerated program, and students in the low SES category who have good grades and did not choose to participate in those programs. So we have those surveys. We are working through training individuals to deliver those surveys. And then we're having a small group series of interviews and then collating all that information to figure out the why. We can make some suppositions, but we don't want to assume anything. We want to know, why do you not see this as an option for yourself? What are the barriers so that we can make sure that we remove any of those barriers? Under goal number 3, again, shout out to our technology department. They have done a spectacular job. I'm sure you as parents and the staff that we have out here know that it has been a huge lift for us, both to complete our deployment of one-to-one devices. We have one-to-ones for all of our students, but as you'll recall, we got to them first. So, and we got to our teachers, and we're still working our way through the rest of our staff. Again, each one of those with committees to say, what kind of device do you need? It was just in the last month that we've gotten the devices in for all of our secretaries, because we sat down with them and looked at their job duties and saw what type of device they needed rather than just ordering something off of the shelf. We have completed through level 4 of our Canvas training. Actually, I think we will have by level 6. I think level 6 we'll have done by the time our March 18th Flexible Staff Dev Day rolls around. You have in your packet a chart showing where everyone is in terms of the objectives on levels 1 through 8. I think our teachers have once again done a yeoman's job We chose that program after a considerable amount of committee work. We had committees of teachers and service personnel who looked at a number of programs, told us what they felt like was lacking in the programs that we already had in existence, what they wanted. And then we had them look at a number of different programs and choose that.
Follow, and it's hard to see the screen.
Okay, sure. Okay, so on goal number 4, I think it's important to note that communication is always of vast importance to us. We can be doing all sorts of wonderful work, and if nobody knows about it, then they don't know how to contribute to it. And we have expanded our reach in terms of both branding and consistency, and in terms of the tools that we're using with parents. We have folks who want things by text, folks who want it by email, folks who want it on demand, folks who want a video, folks who want a phone call. And working through the tools for each one of those things and what messages go out on which levels in terms of our feed. Is a work in progress. We continue to survey people and ask what they need, and then make adjustments accordingly for that. In addition to these 4 goals, we have a couple of other things going on in terms of special projects. One you will hear about at the next board meeting, and that's been the project for our Page Jackson alumni, which is the tribute space that was approved in the bond. And we've been working with those individuals from all over the country. We actually have a round of videotaping sessions. I know I just called it taping. How old am I, Jason? Video sessions scheduled for March 9th, 10th, and 11th, so that we capture those stories. I know many of you knew and admired Coach Taylor, who was a local legend before he passed. Those are the kind of stories that we have to capture for future generations. And this project, we hope, goes a long way towards doing that. We are invested in continuing to move forward with all of these goals as a school system and to enact the goals of the board. And there's always going to be other projects. There's always going to be distractions, but you can either make excuses or you can make progress. And I am very grateful that the staff here has chosen to make progress. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions if you have them.
We've been presented with tier 1 and tier 2, but of that incentive program, when will we move forward with the rest of that plan?
That's a great question. When we had originally presented in the fall, we had asked that we move forward with tier 1, put those in place, and then get another round of data about the extent to which it either slowed increased retention and recruitment to see whether or not we needed to move forward to tier 2. All of those things have a cost to them. And quite frankly, we only have so much capacity as well. There were, I think, 12 different initiatives in that tier 1, and it is, quite frankly, all we can do right now to get all of those turned out. But the idea was that we would launch those and then take data and then come back to the board to determine whether or not we needed to move forward into another tier.
This packet, you have the academic performance monitoring measures. When will this board hear about the achievement of the students in the county?
Also a great question. The academic performance measures that are in there from the state are part of the balanced scorecard. And that that's a consistent measurement program across the state, and it allows the board to look at us in comparison to other school systems. Those are not issued until June, and then I bring those back to the board when we have all of those score reports in each one of the different categories.
Yeah, but you got those reports last summer and we still haven't seen those.
The reports that we got last summer, we shared results of when we asked the board about setting goals moving forward, with the caveat that those results, and as you've heard in every LSIC meeting, because every other Monday that we're not here, you're being presented from individual schools, their reading data, their mathematics data, their science data, their discipline data. And they're talking to you about here's our take on the data. Here's what we read into this. Like, for instance, you heard from Drisswood, and I think they said, what, 30% or less of their virtual students came in and actually even tested. So that data is significantly skewed. And what we've had our schools take their mid-years to get an idea of where they were at. This testing this spring will certainly be a good baseline for us to see how much lost students have had and how much we've been able to help bring them back during the year in terms of growth.
I just have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's been a lot of growth at the board office positions and salary increases. And my concern is that the teachers and service personnel, will there be plans to offset? I know that some of these positions are set payments, but for example, reimbursing service employees who have to take off because they've been exposed to COVID. They have to use their own sick time. Is it possible to reimburse them in other ways?
So I guess a couple of different things. First of all, I've presented to the board previously, and this data is up online for anyone to see. Currently, Jefferson County Schools has the third highest ratio in terms of students to professional staff. So we basically have fewer professionals serving more students than all but 3 other counties in the state. That is an efficiency rating. I've presented that data to the board and to the public. We, like everyone else, and when I say we, the school board office, the schools have a number of openings. We continue to have open positions, and filling those those things are important. All of the initiatives that you are asking us to enact on behalf of the staff, someone has to do that work. Someone has to put those things together. Someone has to issue those payments. Someone has to track those. Someone has to support those. And I think that that's important work. All of the initiatives that you saw in tier 1 that you passed on the retention and recruitment, those were all geared towards teaching and service staff to put more money into their pockets, to give them more opportunities to have earning potential based on what they're doing now. So I think that we have quite a number of initiatives aimed towards teaching and service staff.
Thank you. Do any other board members have any questions?
Question I had is, do you mind going over the honors and the duals so we can kind of look at those statistics? Do you mind if we look at them? Or is that something that was in, I can't remember if it was in there or not.
It was in there, and actually what I can do is I can post that particular data sheet with each one of the tabs online as well, because none of it is identifying information. It goes grade. It's broken out by school, Washington High School and Jefferson High School for 3 years worth of data, both the percentage of those students for each one of those subgroups in those courses and their percentage in the high school population. So certainly I can post that up. I'm happy to.
Okay, and other than the low SES, would you say there was anything else that you found that was I guess, that you found that we should probably look to change, or that you found that we were doing well at? In your opinion, what did you think about the data that we saw?
That's a great question. There were two other things. One, well, there are many other things. We did see a fairly erratic CTE completer numbers from year to year. There are a number of different reasons for that we think are contributing factors. I'm not certain that the state has made the case for having a CTE completer. We have students who are interested in a lot of different subjects. Instead of going through and getting 4 courses in depth into a single subject, they don't necessarily see the benefit of that. And so that had a communication component to it that we need to have to get to show kids the benefit of it. We did find one of the subgroups that we found that did have a differentiator was Hispanic students participating in dual enrollment. AP, yes. Honors, yes. For some reason, dual enrollment, far lower. One of the things that is different is that other than the 2 courses, 3 courses that we teach on site for dual enrollment, many of them are off site and students have to travel to those. So the deeper that we get into each one of those, we're looking at what the possible barriers could be. And it's like anything else. I don't think it's going to be one huge thing. I think there are going to be a lot of little tweaks that need to be made to each one of those programs. And honestly, I think one of the things that we're going to find is that it starts early. It starts, as you well know, it starts in elementary. And in elementary, if we tell you you're the best bluebird and your parents tell you the best bluebird, you think you're the best bluebird and you fly like the best bluebird. And if we say, wow, look at that broken wing, you poor thing, then you start to believe that. And I think that there has to be this very concerted effort between parents and schools to really educate one another about what options there are, about what barriers may be in place, and be realistic about what it takes to get there and what it takes to do that. I have every resource in the world, and I struggle to help figure out my son's schedule, what he should be taking and where he should be going. So it takes a lot to help these kids navigate an increasingly complex world with a lot of choices. I would say, however, one of the things that I was excited about and a huge positive is 3 years ago, the number of students that we had enrolled in the dual enrollment program. We had over 300 in the last 3 years come through that program. So we have really pushed hard at the high school level to get those kids class credits and to get them launched. Not that college is the only way to go. James Rumsey does an amazing job. I'm sorry, go be a plumber and make $125 an hour. There are a lot of different paths, but continuing to give kids options and to support them in those options, that's our work. That's our work.
I have 2 more. Can the board have access to that data that you were talking about?
Right, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And the other thing, yeah, my daughter was in the dual enrollment program 3.5 years ago. So, and I don't know.
Oh, on-site, our on-site
Oh,
dual
okay.
enrollment programs, where we're bringing dual enrollment to the kids, where we, where we worked with Blue Ridge and with Shepherd to get our teachers certified to teach the classes so the kids were getting credit and they weren't having to travel. But thank you. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right, next up, number 4, Deputy Superintendent of Operations update, Mrs. Joyce White.
Good evening again. I have a few updates for you this evening. We'll start with child nutrition. The USDA is providing schools across America with $1.5 billion in supply chain funds. Supply chain issues have significantly impacted school districts' ability for us to procure nutritious foods for meal service. These supply chain funds are a critical funding stream that will provide an additional finance resource for school districts so that we can purchase domestic food products as part of our school district's effort to respond to widespread supply chain disruptions, enhance efforts to strengthen local school food supply chains, and help schools to overcome financial and operational barriers while we maintain children's access to nutritious meals. West Virginia is starting by providing each county who does not opt out with a $5,000 base in funding. The remainder of our allocation in West Virginia, $6.1 million, will be allocated based on the student enrollment in each county, and we must spend the funds by 9/2023. So soon, in the coming weeks, we'll find what our share is here in Jefferson County, but that will help us hopefully with supply chain issues and defray costs. Kitchen equipment is now being ordered for our 4 kitchen equipment grants that we received from the West Virginia Department of Education. By the end of the week, we'll have it ordered, and to avoid disruption to our kitchens, it will be installed over the summer and ready to go for the next school year. Also, just an update on the Charlestown Micro Orchard. That grant will begin this spring, weather pending, but we hope in April. And Mr. Dylan Bites will be working with students, staff, and a Jefferson County business on this project to get that orchard up and running. An update on some bond projects. As you can suspect, with summer coming, we're already very busy planning for this set of summer projects in addition to the builds we have of the new schools. So 2 of our instructional bond projects are in the late planning stages. The first are exercise bicycles and e-readers for our middle schools. Mr. Joel Silver has been instrumental in working on that project. He has worked with schools and with middle school principals in order to select and implement a plan for use at each school. And he is also in the planning stages with middle schools to provide materials, equipment, and or furniture for STEAM labs at each middle school. That was another instructional bond project. Mary Lind, meanwhile, is in the late planning stages and is preparing for implementation of STEAM kits for elementary schools. She provided you previously with a presentation on her plan, and her plan will include training opportunities for teachers during the upcoming school year. So I'm very excited for her to launch that plan. For spring and summer projects to be completed with roof replacements, we have several going on. Over the summer at South Jefferson Elementary, TA Lowry Elementary School, which I will ask you later to approve an RFP to replace the metal on that roof. Shepherdstown Middle School and the board office and maintenance building will have select sections of those roofs replaced. Dr. Gibson Lawrence spoke to the Paige Jackson Tribute Hall, which is in the late planning stages, as is the Washington High School gym. So we'll have updates on those soon, and I look forward to bringing the alumni here to speak to the project about the tribute hall in the Paige Jackson room. It looks very great. It's an exciting project, and it's been a pleasure working with all of the alumni on it. Select schools, Blue Ridge Elementary, Wright Denny, and Shepherdstown Middle School will have carpet removed this summer and replaced with tile. And we are in the early planning stages at Charlestown Middle School for the outdoor bleacher replacement. Select bathroom renovations, we're starting that project. Starting planning of that project, and secure entryways, we're starting planning for that project. CW Shipley is still slated to have an awning installed at the main entrance of their school this summer, and we're addressing drainage issues around the perimeter of Charlestown Middle School. So those are just a few of the things we're doing with bond projects in addition to our maintenance projects. That does conclude my update for this evening.
Thank you very much.
You're
Can I
welcome.
ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Will there be any data collected on the use of these bikes to help improve reading? Like,
Since Mr. Silver's heading that project, he hasn't shared if that will be the case or not. I can certainly take that question to him and get you an answer.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. White. Next, we have the approval of minutes, and I'm going to break this down into two different pieces. Is there a motion to approve the special board meeting minutes held February 14th and February 21st, 2022? Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Any questions or discussions on the special board meetings held February 14th and 21st? All in favor of approving those, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, the approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting held February 14th, 2022. Dr. Joy asked that her reason for recusing herself was reflected correctly or incorrectly. So I'd like to amend the minutes to read that Dr. Donna Joy recusing herself because her husband is an infectious disease scientist and he worked closely with Dr. Fauci and the CDC. And I was advised that this borders on a conflict of interest or that I should recuse myself because there is a financial interest. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended from the February 14th, 2022 regular meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Any discussion?
Yeah, I don't, there's not necessarily a financial interest, but there is the potential underlying conflict of interest. So, but there isn't definitely a financial interest. So I thought I made that clear with Ms. Harner.
Well, we went back and watched the tape and that's,
Okay.
we're just documenting the minutes as to what happened at the meeting. So there's a motion on the table to approve the amended minutes of the regular board meeting held February 14th, 2022. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Dr. Joy, did you vote?
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Next, we have citizens' comments. First up virtually, we have Joanne Curran, followed by Barbara Fuller.
Okay, hi. I
Oh,
fully
ma'am, I'm sorry.
enjoyed
Can you give me
hearing
just
about.
one? Ma'am, one moment, 1 second here. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
I fully enjoyed hearing about the new school buildings this evening, but I've been here many times before trying to get your attention. I've tried reasoning, that didn't work. So I tried humor, a game show, a biology class, pointing out the fad of so-called gender science. How many times have we heard over the last 2 years, follow the science? Hello, that applies to biology too.
Curran.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. We're having a little technical difficulty here. If you don't mind, we're going to start you over in just a moment. Hang on.
Okay.
Can we hear you now?
I'm here.
Okay. All right. Whenever you're ready. I'm sorry about that.
I'll start over because I don't know where you lost me.
Yes,
I fully enjoyed hearing about the new school buildings, but I've been here many times before trying to get your attention. I've tried reasoning, that didn't work. So I tried humor, a game show, a biology class, pointing out the fad of so-called gender science. How many times have we heard over the last 2 years, follow the science? Hello, that applies to biology too. I've tried ELA class about pronouns and newly created vocabulary words like misinformation to replace the more tolerant word opinion. We've talked about how the schools and parents used to be friends working together and why we're enemies, even terrorists now. Well, from reviewing the new curriculum from Amplify, I see the content is full of woke socialist groupthink, so I think that's my answer. So tonight's lesson on this last night of Black History Month is on Black history. It will be a true or false. I'll give you a hint, since actual grades don't matter anymore, they are all true. How does that make you feel? That's what's important after all. We don't need any critical race theory here when we've got really critical race facts. Let's begin. I hope Black history can't be taught without acknowledging the Democrat Party. And I hope students have been taught these following facts because I think this is critical going forward. The Democrat Party was pro-slave. Democrats were the Confederate Party. Democrats hunted down escaped slaves. Democrats hung and burned Blacks across the South, spouting hateful lies and misinformation about the victims. Democrats started the KKK in West Virginia. It was Democrat Senator Byrd who started and was the exalted Cyclops of the KKK here for decades. Exalted Cyclops, really? Who thought that was a good name? But our Democrat president gave the eulogy at the funeral of his good friend, Senator Byrd. Democrats were against Blacks voting. Democrat politicians were anti-civil liberties. Democrats kept Blacks out of schools, in the back of the bus, and out of public bathrooms. White racist Margaret Sanger started Planned Parenthood. Her purpose was to gradually wipe out the Black population through abortion. Democrats give and accept the Margaret Sanger Award annually. Two recent recipients are Democrat leaders Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton. CRT Democrats are pro-segregation once again. Whereas Lincoln was the first Republican president, Lincoln freed the slaves, Republicans fought for Black equality in the Union Army. Democrats opposed Lincoln, a Democrat killed Lincoln. Republicans fought for school integration, voting rights, and civil liberties. Republicans put the first Black man on the Supreme Court. So maybe it's not all whites that are systemically racist. Maybe it seems to me it's the white Democrats that are the racist ones. So children of color, how did this Black history quiz make you feel? What emoji would you draw to show your feelings? If only there was an emoji to show feeling betrayed by the Democrat Party. Looks like next lesson will have to be world history, considering current events, so that students can learn the real truth about socialist dictators. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is Barbara Fuller online, followed by Karen Buck in person. Ms. Fuller, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. I would like to thank personally Mr. Eddie. I would love to hear him sing, and I can't wait to go see his performance over at Shepherd. To the point of we need more men teaching, I couldn't agree more. I think that if we were able to have a wage that supported our teachers and their families, that we would have more men. But the real reason for my commenting today was I wanted to talk about the Black Men Read program. While I think that it's an admirable program, I'm wondering just why we don't have our own Black men in our own community who are reading. Gene Taylor, Reverend Lyles, Chauncey Winbush, he's the AD over at Shepherd University. These are men whom I've always looked up to, and I find that it's almost insulting that we're going to have some football players come read to these kids when these men are in our community. And these are the men that we will see at church, we will see at the grocery store, we will see at sporting events, not just if we're going to a production at Shepherd. One of the questions that I didn't see answered, and maybe someone can get back to me, was out of the 425 Black students that are enrolled in Jefferson County, what percentage of those are actually in 4th grade? And the other question, maybe someone could get back to me with, are they just reading to the Black boys? Are they reading to all the kids? Are they just reading to Black children in general? And that's really all the questions that I had. I would really like to see our neighborhood men in this program, because I think they have so much to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Karen Buck, followed by Judy York.
Or what? I'm Karen Buck. This is my opinion directed solely at this board and meant for entertainment purposes only. Regardless of what's happening around the world, our focus is right here in our own backyard. If you only had 71 days to finish your work, would you panic and work faster? One of this board's responsibilities is to stay informed of what's going on in the community and the schools. Well, here's what's going on. In the last 14 days, we have had, number one, tutus. Number two, masks finally gone, but the same day plastic splatter guards put in the lunchroom for the kids to eat in, and then told they have to reteach the kids how to have recess. Okay, here's the new COVID guidelines. It doesn't say anything about splatter guards in the lunchroom or reteaching the kids how to have recess. So it seems like the principals in some of these schools haven't gotten the memo. Okay, please start treating our kids a little bit of dignity instead of like animals. And number three of what's been happening in the last 14 days, teacher acts professionally and gives her 2-week notice only to be fired on the spot. Now, isn't that professional? Who are they getting their walk-in orders from? Black Math Genius 3.1 million taxpayer dollars found to be a complete scam with no studies or proof that the program even works. The slightest bit of research on this would have prevented the wasting of the taxpayers' money, but it was voted on and rubber stamped. The Amplify English Language Arts Program, 2.1 million taxpayer dollars, filled with dangerous pedagogy, and the profits of which possibly related to nefarious activities. Again, the slightest bit of research would have told you about this and would have prevented the taxpayer dollars from being wasted on a scam. Instead, it was voted on and rubber stamped. Tonight, this board will approve the superintendent's mid-year goals, which include lobbying the legislature and the Senate for more control of the schools, which is interesting because the anti-CRT bill passed the Senate Education Committee tonight, and it goes right to the floor, and you can bet those teachers' unions are down there fighting that. And the mid-year goals also include targeting more teachers for administrative positions, just what we need, more administrators, and more data mining of our low-income and minority students to develop specialized curriculums. Also expanding the branding message of Jefferson County schools through social media. What kind of branding does tutus represent? Okay. Parents and taxpayers, are you noticing a pattern? Vote May the 10th. Early voting starts April the 27th.
Thank you. Next up is Judy York, followed by Sean Mosley.
I'm Judy, Judy York. I just want to say I'm super proud of the kids that were up there tonight. 3 of them happen to be mine. Specifically, I want to speak to the social studies and science fairs today. They're great activities that help kids stretch their academic wings. Facts learned in class, books read at home, a movie watched with the family can fuel curiosity and interest for further research, and at best ignite passion that leads to a lifelong career. I'm a big fan of any effort that gets kids talking about what they've learned. I've taught in the business programs both at Shepherd and Frostburg for years and have been surprised to learn many students make it through secondary school without ever having to do a significant presentation on their own. While it's important to be able to pass a written test, being able to research, synthesize, and present your ideas professionally is a critical life skill. I encourage my students and my kids, I want them to be able to walk into their boss's office and advocate for themselves. I want them to be able to confidently express their ideas out on a construction site, on a factory floor, or the boardroom, wherever their future takes them. Programs like the social studies and science fairs help students develop these skills. And none of it's possible without the teachers and administrators who put in their time outside of the classroom to support these programs. This is huge, especially given the extra work they've been putting in this year to cover staff shortages and illnesses. They've committed after school hours to brainstorm with students. They've devoted their Saturdays to hosting fairs, They've traveled over 16 hours in one day with students to the regional event last Monday. Is this all worth it? Absolutely. Last meeting, there was so much positivity and hope shared around the new ELA curriculum. Let's let that be contagious. Because I also heard fear that the material was too advanced for our students, fear that the pace was too rushed and our students wouldn't be able to catch up, and fear like topics like Egyptian mummies and the Holocaust were too sad or disturbing. There's no room for leading or teaching from fear. Rather, as a community, I hope we can continue to rally around our teachers and school administrators, support them in the work of supporting our kids, and come together to do what we can as a community to expand programs like the social studies and science fairs. Seek what we can learn from our neighboring counties that have robust student involvement. Consider hosting community workshops to help students brainstorm ideas, and maybe even set up a scholarship to fund project resources and upcycle project boards. This is the kind of support a community rooted in positivity and hope for our school system and our future can rally behind. I plan to follow up with the board and encourage the community as well to see where we can all help in this kind of effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Sean Mosesley.
How's everyone?
Good evening.
Okay, good. So first, I'm coming from the point of view as a parent partner to this board and to the county. So I want to make sure that I'm received that way. I'm a New Jersey boy, born in New Jersey. I lived in Maryland for a little bit, work in Northern Virginia, and live in Charlestown, West Virginia. You guys have an elite superintendent. I just want to make sure that comes off clear. Two things that I did list on my paper that I'm going to try to stick to. I feel trapped because there were a lot of subjects that I did write down that I'll probably come back to in the next meeting. One of them is the virtual academy. I thought, at least as a parent, and I know that the teachers were working very hard behind the scenes, but as a parent, the way we did virtual academy last year was perfection. At least that's how it was received and how I saw it and mechanically how it worked. I do have a lot of problems with the way it works this year, this asynchronous where the student just learns on his own. He doesn't get to speak to his teacher until later on in the week for that 1 hour session. My kid happens to be on a full IEP. So when we talk about special ed, I don't know where the numbers come from because as a parent, I was not asked to contribute to the assessment of Jefferson Virtual Academy. Not a critique of the numbers that I heard today or that the plan that I heard today. Just as a partner parent, I did not contribute any input into this year's virtual academy. And I do believe that there was a big difference to the way it was executed this year and last year. A couple of things I did want to also bring up in that vein is that the program awareness. There was a lot of content that was available to the kids that were in school that was not communicated to the kids that were virtual. I have a kid that excels in math and just to add on some of the subject that I just heard a few minutes ago, my kid started in West Virginia for specific reasons. We took him to Northern Virginia to attend school. When he came back to West Virginia after never attending school in Charlestown in Jefferson County, attending school in Northern Virginia for 2 years. He came back. He scored the highest in math in the state, city, and county. So when I hear that that West Virginia is doing it right, I take exception to that because I do know it's done well every other places. Again, I think I talked about the mechanics of Jefferson Virtual Academy. Not that it was done bad. I believe there was a lot of room for improvement this year. I think asynchronous did not teach my kid. I think my kid and probably other kids like him, if they know the subject, they do the work. They're not challenged enough. I think this presenting topics to the student,
Thank you,
asynchronous, and
Mr.
then
Mr.
giving.
Mosley, I'm
Yes,
sorry, your time is up.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Thank you
I
very
didn't
much.
realize the time limit. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have the consent agenda. And Ms. Loring, are there any updates to the consent agenda this evening?
Good evening. Yes, we have two corrections on line 2. We have a correction from an appoint to an actual transfer with the data and the information listed there and what the transfer entails. And then in number 12, we have a deletion of a coach from Wildwood Middle School.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the update to number 2 and to number 12? Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the consent agenda as amended to number 2 and number 12, say aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And once again, Ms. Loring, thank you for the new format on the consent agenda. All right. Next up, we have under unfinished business, request action on the approval of the middle school field maintenance bid.
Before I ask you to approve the bid, I just want to give you a couple of, a little bit of information about it, make a few comments. So the total cost for the bid is $30,550. We advertised in the paper, multiple people expressed interest in this bid, and we had just the single business turn in the bid. There are few companies around here that, very few, that specialize in athletic fields. And the current bid before you, this company solely does that. So they're not just a lawn care company. They specialize in taking care of middle school fields. As you know, we installed at Wildwood Middle School a sod field, which requires higher care than just the grass athletic fields. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of all of our fields. And in thinking that over and in doing so, removed from our budget was the care of the Jefferson High School field at a cost of $38,000. So in the maintenance budget, adding the middle school maintenance and having a company that's responsive to mowing the games, mowing the field the day before the games, which becomes important to coaches, to players, to athletic directors, and taking good care of it, I think is a good move. So we will be removing the Jefferson High grass field and adding this. It's actually a savings to the budget, but we're caring and prolonging our fields, including the nice new sod fields that we have. So that would include the care of those. So with that and the information I've provided, I will ask that you approve the bid before you for the field maintenance package for the middle schools. Unless you have questions, I'm happy to entertain this.
Well, first, is there a motion to accept the approval of the middle school field maintenance bid?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Any questions for Ms. White?
Is this the company that we had that was taking care of Jefferson's field prior to it becoming turf?
I want to say no. No, I believe that was our lawn care company.
Okay, so this company is new to us.
They are.
Do we know of any other fields they've taken care of and how well they?
You know, that is a great question. And Brandon did the research for that. He was satisfied with what they came up with in their work. Beyond that, Mr. Osborne, I don't know.
So they specialize, I mean, one of their specialties is football fields.
It is.
Really, we're taking the money from the Jefferson field, but we still have a price for maintenance of the turf field.
We absolutely do. With those, we have purchased groomers and sweepers. So we're able to perform, we have people trained to perform a lot of maintenance for the fields that we can do in-house. We do have the new field under warranty so that they'll be able to come back and they take a look at the ratings on that field for the players and that kind of thing. I am not convinced that that will take $38,000, but we plan to take excellent care of those fields.
The new field at Wildwood, will it need rolled or anything like that this year?
Yes, it still needs some work, and the contractor on that will come back this spring to see that the sod is well established. He will step away from it in the early spring and then we'll take it fully over. So he has not yet left the care of that field. It's still in his hands. He has some work to do to get it into shape. And then beyond that, it will become ours. And with the passage of a maintenance package, this would roll into that.
Now, refresh my memory, did we not have a practice field that we did something to as well? Did we
Yes.
seed it or did we sod it?
We sodded it.
And is that in this contract? as
It
well?
is.
Thank you.
Regarding the fields because of the difference in price, and you're talking about the Jefferson and that. I think I remember when we were talking about the field to make sure that it did require, or it did, I thought we looked at the possibility of a service contract with that to make sure, or did we do that where we trained our own people to actually take care of that field?
We do. They can groom and they can sweep it. We have maintenance staff trained. I believe there's some custodians and ADs trained.
Okay, and then what, do we have a plan in place, or can we make sure we do that? Because we have obviously staff that comes and staff that goes,
Mhm.
to make sure that whoever touches those fields, whether it's Washington or Jefferson, with a sweeper or any other piece of equipment.
Is trained.
Is trained. to do
Yes,
So.
absolutely.
And then what kind of warranty do we have for that? Is it cheaper for us to actually have someone else professional who knows how to do it, or?
You mean
know?
as far as the turf fields go? I know they're under warranty for the rating, the impact rating.
G-Max rating.
Mhm, yeah, thank you. And we're taking care of the maintenance as far as training people to do that. This first year, I think they'll be coming back and taking a close look at it. I'll have to specifically pull back that contract because I'm sorry, I don't recall it all right now.
Yeah, I don't know how you could remember it all in your head, but yeah, okay, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the middle school field maintenance bid. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And Mrs. White, with that, can we make sure we have a schedule for those turf fields? Not that, you know,
Yes.
it just gets missed.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, next, new business 13A, request approval for an RFP bid to replace the South Jefferson septic tank and add a new drainage field.
It is time in the life of the South Jefferson septic tank that it depart us. So it's been that way for a couple of years. We've been monitoring it. This is a project that we have been watching very closely and that we asked, we work with finance with Ms. Marone to be able to budget money so that we could replace the drainage field, the septic tank, and some lines that are in the front of the school. The septic tank lies on the front of that school. So we're to a place now where we can complete that project this summer and we're ready to go out to bid for it. And I'll entertain any questions you have after you make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve to go out for an RFP bid to replace the South Jefferson septic tank and add a new drainage field?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Is there a second? Any questions or concerns? All right, all in favor of approving the RFP bid to replace South Jefferson septic tank and add a new drainage field, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Ms. White, it's you again. 13B, request approval for an RFP to replace the metal on the T.A. Lowry Elementary roof.
The only thing I want to know note on this project prior to your motion is that this is a bond project.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the RFP to replace the metal on the TA Lowry Elementary roof?
So moved.
And is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Any questions or discussion?
The only question I have is, will it stay green?
Good question. I had no intention of changing the color. It didn't enter my mind.
All right, all in favor of approving to go out for an RFP to replace the metal on the TA Lowry Elementary roof, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, next we have 13C, the 2021-22 superintendent evaluation. And before we do that, Dr. Gibson-Learn, did you have any superintendent comments for us this evening? All right. So the superintendent evaluation, is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Osborne. All in favor of going to executive session to complete the 21-22 superintendent evaluation, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Thank you very much.